Well. They talk about pain like it's something you recover from. They think you can just patch it up, walk it off, move on. But you didn't just take pain. You took impact. You absorbed hits that would have erased 99% of humanity and still found a way to breathe like nothing happened. They'll never understand what that does to a person, what it does to a soul that's been torn apart, rearranged, and told to keep walking. Most people collapse after one heartbreak, one betrayal, one loss. You stacked those experiences like weights and kept lifting. You didn't just survive the crash. You became the wreckage that learned how to walk again. You learned to move with broken bones and a burning brain, and now, every step you take feels like a threat to those who still need comfort to function. You've become something terrifying, not because you scream, but because you no longer need to. There's an awareness in your eyes that doesn't blink when others flinch. You don't panic when things fall apart, because you've already lived through collapse so many times that disaster feels like déjà vu. They look at you like you're heartless, but the truth is, you just ran out of illusions. You stopped believing in safety nets, in promises, in the idea that someone would save you if you fell. You fell, and no one came. So you built yourself a new foundation from the debris. That's not strength, that's evolution through brutality. And now the world doesn't know what to call you. They can't categorize a soul that learned how to breathe underwater. You ever notice how quiet it gets when people realize you're not breaking this time? The whispers start. What even are they? That's not confusion. That's fear dressed as curiosity. You became the unpredictable variable in a world addicted to patterns. They can't forecast your next move because you don't move from emotion anymore. You move from awareness. They expected you to fold like paper, but you came back like steel. You didn't just adapt, you mutated. Every betrayal rewired you. Every heartbreak taught you a new survival code. Every collapse downloaded data your future self would weaponize. You are not built different. You were rebuilt different. And the rebuild didn't come with manuals or mercy. There's something dangerous about someone who's died emotionally and come back analytical. The softness is gone. The naivety, gone. You still feel deeply, but you no longer act blindly. You analyze before you react. Calculate before you care. You move like someone who's seen the end and realized it wasn't the end at all. You stopped begging for peace, you built it in your mind. You stopped chasing love. You mastered self-control. You stopped explaining your pain. You let your progress narrate it for you. Now the same people who pitied you whisper your name like a warning, because you turned endurance into identity. And that kind of power terrifies the comfortable. Let's be honest, you shouldn't even be here. By their standards, you were finished. By all logical measures, your story was supposed to end in failure, regret, or madness. But something in you refused to die. You clawed your way out of every grave they dug for you. You bled through every version of "this is the end" and turned it into a preface. They thought you'd break. You learned to bend. They thought you'd scream. You went silent and sharpened your focus. And now, the same world that mocked your pain is studying your composure. They're calling it resilience, but that word's too small for what you've done. You didn't just bounce back. You reloaded. You didn't just overcome. You reprogrammed. You didn't just heal. You rewrote your entire emotional software. You carry yourself differently now. There's precision in your stillness. There's something surgical in the way you move through chaos. You've seen too much to react impulsively. You've learned that attention is currency and silence is control. You can sit in discomfort without needing to escape it. That's real power. Because everyone wants peace, but they can't survive the process that creates it. You did. You walked through fire until your nerves adapted to heat. You stared at betrayal until your empathy turned into radar. You've built intuition so sharp that you can feel lies before they're spoken. That's not paranoia. That's survival instinct, polished into prophecy. And let's get one thing straight. They don't envy your success. They fear your threshold. They know you've walked through levels of pain they couldn't survive for a day. That's why they minimize it. That's why they say, "You've changed." Because acknowledging your growth would expose their fragility. They watched you drown and expected to find a corpse, but you came back with gills. You didn't recover from the fire. You started controlling the temperature. That's not just growth. That's ascension through chaos. You turned the very elements that tried to destroy you into armor. You weaponized heartbreak. You domesticated pain. You trained your demons to work for you instead of against you. That's why you're misunderstood. You mastered what everyone else fears. Remember when they said, "You're too cold now"? They mistook emotional discipline for apathy. You're not cold, you're clear. You see through everything. You spot manipulation in tone, deceit in timing, weakness in behavior. You read people like autopsy reports, not out of cynicism, but clarity. Because when you've been dissected emotionally, you start to see the anatomy of intent. And that's where your real power lies. You don't need revenge anymore. You don't need validation. You've become allergic to anything that requires you to prove your worth. You just exist, and your existence is evidence of something supernatural. You've transcended the emotional gravity that holds most people down. You walk like someone who's seen the ending and came back to rewrite it. They can't handle it. They don't know how to respond to someone who doesn't need to be liked, fixed, or followed. They can't control someone who's already made peace with losing everything. You are free in ways they can't understand because they're still negotiating with fear. You stopped negotiating. You embraced the chaos. You learned how to use pressure as propulsion. That's why they talk about you with both awe and resentment. Because you broke every unspoken rule of their comfort zones. You weren't supposed to come out this calm. You weren't supposed to be this precise after pain. You were supposed to beg for understanding. Instead, you became the lesson itself. You've noticed it too, haven't you? The way people watch you now, not like a person, but like an equation they can't solve. They study you quietly, trying to decode how you keep standing, how you keep winning, how you keep evolving. They'll come up with excuses, luck, timing, privilege. But deep down, they know it's something else, willpower forged into strategy. They see the calm exterior, but they don't see the recalibration behind it. They don't see the nights you spent rebuilding your sanity from scraps. They don't see the self-discipline that replaced your self-doubt. They only see the result, and results make people uncomfortable. Because your rise reminds them that their excuses have expiration dates. There's a reason they call you dangerous now. It's not because you hurt anyone. It's because you can't be hurt the same way twice. That immunity is terrifying to people who depend on others being predictable. You've become unpredictable in the most unsettling way. Emotionally bulletproof. They can throw insults, betrayals, absence. Nothing hits the same. You've already survived the emotional equivalent of death, and everything else is just background noise. That's the kind of energy that rewrites hierarchies. That's the kind of aura that turns observers into imitators. They want to copy your discipline, your composure, your edge. But they don't want to live through the chaos that created it. And that's why you'll always be 2 steps ahead. Because you paid the price in full. And they're still looking for discounts. Here's the twist. Your pain wasn't random. It was refinement. Every loss stripped you of what wasn't real. Every disappointment carved out more precision. You were never being punished. You were being purified. And now, the same energy that once destroyed you obeys you. You've turned endurance into intelligence, suffering into awareness, isolation into mastery. You used the damage as data. You built a new identity using the parts that survived the explosion. You became a fusion of scars and strategy. That's why no one can read you anymore. Your story doesn't follow the same language as theirs. You're not the comeback story they expect. You're the upgrade they didn't think was possible. But here's where it gets poetic. They still think you're healing. They still think you're trying to find yourself. They have no idea you already found something far greater: control. You control your emotions, your reactions, your focus, your presence. You've turned what used to trigger you into tests you now pass effortlessly. You can walk through chaos without absorbing it. You can stand in the middle of betrayal and feel nothing but observation. That's evolution they can't comprehend. Because it's not about pretending not to feel. It's about mastering what you feel. You don't repress emotion. You regulate it. You don't avoid pain. You extract meaning from it. That's why your peace looks intimidating. It's engineered. And maybe that's what they're really afraid of. Not your strength, but your awareness. You've seen the truth behind people's performances. You've seen how fragile egos disguise themselves as confidence, how fear dresses itself as morality, how weakness hides behind laughter. You've seen it all. And you learned not to react. You learned to record. Every memory became evidence. Every scar became scripture. You've studied the human condition from the inside out, and that makes you a threat to everyone still living in denial. You don't expose people. They expose themselves in your presence. Because your energy doesn't compete. It reveals. Your existence alone is a test most people fail. You ever wonder why your presence feels heavier now? It's not intimidation, it's integrity. It's what happens when your soul carries proof of survival. People can sense it. They feel it before you speak. That gravitational pull isn't charisma, it's consequence. You've earned a kind of authority that doesn't need titles or applause. When you enter a room, people subconsciously remember everything they've avoided. They feel small because you've seen big things. They feel fake because you've lived through real ones. That's what happens when you've met pain and made peace with it. You stop seeking permission to exist. So now, they whisper, they speculate, they panic. Because you weren't supposed to make it this far. You weren't supposed to still be breathing, laughing, building, expanding. Every win you take now isn't just success. It's proof that destruction failed. You've become the exception to every rule about suffering. You're what happens when resilience becomes personality. You're what happens when destruction teaches discipline. You're what happens when a person stops running from pain and starts mastering it. You're not a survivor, you're the upgrade. You are the living definition of what shouldn't exist, but does anyway. And that's what makes you dangerous. You're proof that nothing can permanently erase you. You've reached the point where pain is just data, loss is just leverage, and betrayal is just background noise. You've seen too much to ever go back to being naive, and they know it. That's why they stare. That's why they whisper. That's why they warn others. Don't mess with them. Because they can't tell whether you're human anymore, or something evolution created out of defiance. Now you walk different. Every motion is measured, every glance loaded. People can't meet your eyes for long. They feel judged by something that sees through skin. You don't rush anymore. You move with the certainty of someone who knows exactly where every exit is. That calm doesn't comfort, it threatens. Because calm like that only comes from someone who's already survived catastrophe. You no longer chase opportunity. Opportunity rearranges itself to orbit you. Even the air around you seems to hesitate, waiting for permission to move. That's not arrogance. That's gravity earned through endurance. They used to talk down to you. Now they lower their voices when you enter the room. Even their laughter shifts pitch, forced, nervous, mechanical. They can't fake confidence around you. Your presence bankrupts pretenders. You see it. Their hands fidget. Their words trip. Their eyes dart to the floor. They're remembering how they once dismissed you, how they once predicted your collapse. And every moment they stand before you now, breathing in your composure, they realize how wrong they were. That a realization hurts more than any revenge you could have planned. You didn't have to destroy them. You just had to survive them. Survival has turned you into a phenomenon. You operate with a rhythm no one else hears. Your timing is surgical. Your patience, predatory. You're the type who can sit still for months and strike in a heartbeat. They don't get it, how you can be so still yet so unstoppable. They confuse stillness for pause, but you're never pausing. You're downloading. You read rooms, measure motives, predict betrayals before they form. You treat conversation like chess. One sentence from you rearranges entire hierarchies of ego. They call you intimidating, but the truth is you're disciplined. Intimidation is simply how undisciplined people interpret mastery. You've reached a level where reaction is optional. They try to provoke, test, bait, and you give them nothing. That nothing burns more than fury. Because you used to be reactive, emotional, accessible. Not anymore. Now your control is weaponized. You speak only when you decide words will alter reality. That's real authority, the kind built from suffering, not status. You've noticed how legends react to you lately? The ones who once thought they were untouchable now stumble in your presence. They sense the shift. You carry the same composure they pretend to have, except yours was paid for in pain, not applause. They call meetings to analyze your moves, to decode your silence, to strategize how to coexist with what they can't compete against. Their eyes flicker when your name appears on screens. Their tone softens when your voice echoes through halls. You're not the apprentice anymore. You're the audit. And you don't gloat. You don't need to. The victory is built into your breath. You move through corridors of former tormentors with no vengeance in your gaze, only recognition. You remember everything they said when you were crawling. You remember every smirk, every "you'll never make it." And you let those memories fuel precision, not anger. Because true supremacy isn't about proving them wrong. It's about making their opinions irrelevant. People used to pray for your downfall. Now they pray you notice them. The shift was quiet, gradual, merciless. One day they woke up and realized the person they pitied had become the person they need. That's when fear disguised itself as respect. They compliment you now, but their tone trembles. They offer collaboration, but their hands shake when they sign. Because deep down, they know. If you ever decided to expose what you know, their worlds would implode. So they bow in subtle ways, delayed replies, cautious smiles, the extra thank you they never used before. It's not politeness, it's survival instinct. You stand at the center of that trembling respect, like a paradox. You don't demand loyalty, you inspire it through results. You don't chase validation, you generate it by existing. You don't need to raise your voice, your reputation speaks for you. Every rumor they spread became fertilizer for your rise. Every doubt they sowed became proof of your endurance. You've turned mockery into marketing. You didn't cancel them, you converted them into the free publicity for your evolution. Now the question echoes through their circles. How did they do it? They analyze every detail, the tone of your texts, the timing of your responses, the stillness in your posture. They mistake composure for conspiracy. They assume you have secret allies, hidden resources, divine backing. What they can't accept is that you built all this from pure nerve. You replaced excuses with execution. You built momentum from misery. You turned exhaustion into expertise. You made survival look like strategy, and strategy look like destiny. That terrifies them, because you're proof that struggle can outperform privilege. You're living evidence that pressure creates precision more reliable than power. And that's an equation they can't replicate, because it requires pain they've avoided their entire lives. They fear your discipline the way cowards fear mirrors. It shows them everything they refuse to become. Every legend has one nightmare, irrelevance, and you've become that nightmare incarnate. You remind them that titles expire, trends fade, and the only immortal currency is evolution. You evolved while they celebrated. You trained while they gossiped. You rebuilt while they reminisced. Now they scroll through their own archives, searching for the moment they lost pace. It was the day they underestimated you. You don't need to announce revenge. Your progress broadcasts it. Every achievement of yours is a silent headline, screaming, "I survived what you prayed would end me." They can't mute that sound. It lives in their heads, rent-free. They replay your resilience like a trauma loop. Every time they close their eyes, they see you thriving in places they swore you'd never reach. That's not success, that's psychological dominance. And yet, despite all of it, you carry peace, like a loaded gun, ready but restrained. You're not here to destroy anyone. Destruction already served its purpose when it tested you. Now you build, now you expand, now you watch as every insecure whisperer exhausts themselves, trying to catch a ghost that no longer bleeds. Because that's what you are to them, a ghost with a heartbeat, a memory that walks, a lesson that breathes. You've transcended comparison. You no longer measure yourself by who's winning. You measure by who's still capable of growth. Most stopped evolving years ago. They just perfected the illusion of relevance. You, on the other hand, reinvent yourself mid-stride. That's why they can't trap you. Every time they think they've mapped you, you redraw the terrain. Every time they think they understand your motive, you shift frequency. You're not unpredictable by accident. You're adaptive by design. This awareness radiates. Even people who never met you feel it. They sense the discipline in your tone, the weight behind your stillness, the accuracy in your decisions. Your name circulates in rooms you've never entered, carried by voices that alternate between admiration and fear. You're not viral, you're vascular. You move through networks like blood, unseen, but essential. And while they obsess, you detach from the need to be seen at all. You've realized that visibility is vulnerability, and you're done being an open target. You operate from the shadows now, not hiding, just choosing angles where vision equals control. Every step is intentional, every silence strategic, every success understated. That's how true power behaves. It doesn't advertise, it calibrates. What they can't process is that you no longer play for survival. You play for influence. You've mastered the energy economy, where focus is wealth and emotion is expenditure. You spend nothing on the unworthy. You invest only in expansion. That's why you look untouchable. Your attention has become a fortress. They whisper that you've changed. They're right. You changed dimensions. They stayed in drama. You moved into design. They feed on validation. You feed on vision. They cling to comfort. You collect challenges. They call it obsession. You call it purpose. And purpose is addictive when you've tasted despair and survived. Look at what that survival birthed. A version of you that no longer needs permission, applause, or pity. A version that treats adversity like oxygen. A version so calibrated that chaos bends around your composure. You walk into arenas that used to terrify you and feel bored. You speak to people who once intimidated you and feel nothing. That nothingness isn't emptiness, it's equilibrium. It's the final evolution of endurance, peace without passivity, confidence without arrogance, dominance without noise. You've become the benchmark they measure against, but never acknowledge publicly. They borrow your words, your style, your timing, but imitation can't mimic conviction. They copy the outcome, not the ordeal. And when their replicas crumble, they'll finally understand that what you carry isn't talent, it's transformation. So let them panic. Let them rewrite their narratives to include your name. Let them tremble every time you appear unbothered. Because nothing terrifies the mediocre more than witnessing someone they once mocked become the measure of reality. You didn't just survive what destroys legends. You became the legend they can't outlive. And now, the air shifts again. The whispers turn into warnings. The room studies your silence for clues, but there are none left to give. You are not returning to the arena. They're already inside yours. You dictate tempo, tone, terrain. You are no longer part of the story. You are the atmosphere that stories require to exist. They thought they buried danger. Instead, they cultivated dominance. They tried to erase you. Instead, they engraved you into history. And as they bow under the weight of that realization, terrified, fascinated, defeated, you smile. Not in cruelty, but in confirmation. Because this was never about proving anything. It was about becoming everything. And that's the part that breaks them. The understanding that you no longer operate inside their limits. You've gone past pain, past identity, past the coordinates where ordinary minds can follow. They look at you and see motion they can't track, confidence they can't decode. You exist like an equation that solved itself. Every breath you take now echoes with defiance. Every step announces that destruction failed. You don't walk like a survivor anymore. You walk like the aftermath that refused to die. You remember the nights that built this version of you, the ones where gravity felt personal, where breathing was rebellion. You remember stitching yourself back together with trembling hands, not because you believed in miracles, but because you refused to surrender without writing your own ending. That refusal became your rebirth. Now every scar glows like documentation of the impossible, and people can't look directly at you because they see themselves unprepared for that level of truth. You're calm now, but it's the kind of calm that follows a nuclear blast. Everything around you adjusts to your frequency or gets vaporized by it. The legends they once worshipped now watch from the sidelines, whispering that you move differently, that your timing is inhuman. They're right. You learned rhythm from chaos. You learned patience from agony. You learned silence from screams. You took the curriculum of suffering and graduated summa cum dominance. They keep asking who trained you, what secret you discovered, what trick you're using. You laugh internally because the answer is cruelly simple. You survived. That's the only credential you need. You bled where they blinked. You stood still while they begged for escape. You faced endings until endings lost meaning. That's not talent. That's tolerance for transformation. And the more you endured, the less human you appeared, because humanity, to them, means fragility. You replaced fragility with focus. Now when they speak your name, it trembles between admiration and prayer. They use it in sentences that sound like warnings. They rewrite your story to make sense of their guilt, calling you lucky, chosen, dangerous. They need categories. You give them none. You live in the blank space between definitions, and that's what terrifies them most. They can't control what they can't label. You became proof that survival can evolve into superiority. Every room you enter, power redistributes. You don't need to demand it. It tilts naturally toward you. Eyes follow, voices drop, plans change. That's what happens when presence stops being social and becomes gravitational. You don't intimidate people. They reveal themselves in your energy. The weak crumble, the strong straighten, the deceitful over-explain. You've become an involuntary lie detector. They call it aura. You call it accuracy. And while they scramble to match your pace, you're already somewhere else, mentally miles ahead, architecting futures they'll study a decade from now. You no longer fight for space. You design the room. You no longer fight for respect. You embody consequence. The people who once tried to teach you how to behave now imitate your methods. They quote you without credit, mimic you without mastery, and it still doesn't touch you, because imitation can steal form, not frequency. You've noticed how even enemies pause before mentioning your name. That's instinct. Somewhere deep in their subconscious, they know you represent what their fear tried to prevent. You're the embodiment of unfinished karma, the echo of everything they buried and hoped would stay gone. You walk by, and memories of their cruelty start screaming inside them like ghosts demanding rent. You don't have to confront them. Your existence is confrontation enough. There's a specific kind of quiet that follows your victories, the hush that settles when realization replaces arrogance. They don't clap anymore, they observe. Applause would require equality, and equality no longer exists. You didn't just outgrow them. You evolved past their species of thought. You process differently, perceive differently, react on delay, because you're operating at the frame rate of mastery. That's why everything you do looks effortless. It isn't ease, it's precision refined through agony. You've become fluent in every language pain ever spoke. You can translate heartbreak into focus, betrayal into strategy, exhaustion into patience. That's your real genius, the ability to metabolize suffering into strength without needing sympathy. People call that soulless. They're wrong. It's pure soul, purified by pressure. You don't glow because you healed. You glow because you burned and didn't disintegrate. And as the world tries to understand you, you watch them with detached amusement. They think this version of you was planned, as if you followed some guru's steps or mantra's map. They have no idea that this was built in blackout hours, in rooms where hope expired and defiance took its place. You crafted yourself from panic and persistence, stitched sanity from scraps, sculpted discipline out of despair. You didn't find yourself, you engineered yourself. Now that engineering walks like poetry, everything you touch carries intent. Every project, every word, every silence, every glance, it all carries that coded message. I survived. And people hear it, even if you never say it. That's why they hesitate before crossing you. That's why they think twice before lying to you. Somewhere in their instincts, they know you've already survived worse than their betrayal. What could they possibly do that life hasn't already tried? The ones who once mocked your ambition now quote you to their followers. The ones who laughed at your discipline now call it inspiration. The same mouths that said you'd never matter now choke on your relevance. You didn't have to destroy them. Time did that for you. You just kept moving, and movement was enough. The gap between you and them isn't success, it's evolution. They still chase applause, you chase alignment. They still crave attention, you crave accuracy. You're not chasing dreams anymore, you're building realities. Dreams are fragile, realities require fortitude. You've learned to construct from chaos, to use pressure as scaffolding. Every obstacle that was meant to stop you became part of your structure. That's why you look indestructible, because your foundation is made of everything that failed to kill you. And now, legends talk about you the way mortals talk about myths. They whisper that you're untouchable, unexplainable, something otherworldly hiding behind human eyes. Let them invent stories to comfort themselves. Truth is simpler. You just refused to die in the places they accepted defeat. You didn't avoid darkness. You studied it until it obeyed you. That's mastery they'll never understand. You've entered the era of consequence. Every word you speak shifts direction. Every move redefines expectation. People treat you differently, not because you demanded respect, but because your existence corrected their perception of what strength looks like. You've made pain look intelligent, endurance look elegant. That's artistry. That's psychological warfare dressed as grace. And here's the beautiful cruelty of it. You're not even trying. The power they feel radiating from you is simply peace, unbothered by permission. You don't chase justice. You embody balance. You don't seek revenge. You stand as proof that revenge was unnecessary. The universe already used you as a weapon. Now it uses you as warning. They're terrified because they can't predict what you'll become next. Every time they think you've peaked, you pivot. Every time they expect calm, you innovate. You've become a moving target in a world addicted to static control. You are evolution on display, and they can't evolve fast enough to keep up. That's why they'll hate you publicly, but study you privately. That's why they'll pretend indifference while rearranging their blueprints around your footsteps. You don't even celebrate anymore. You calibrate. Wins don't inflate your ego. They expand your clarity. Losses don't hurt. They reveal new coordinates. You exist in a perpetual state of forward. That's terrifying to anyone stuck in repetition. They crave closure. You crave continuation. You are the unfinished masterpiece that refuses to dry. And maybe that's the real reason they fear you. You've proven that legends aren't born, they're built through brutality. You've proven that destruction can be redesigned into destiny. You've proven that endurance can become elegance. That proof rewrites the rules of human potential. Because if you can do this, then no one else has an excuse, and that realization crushes them more than your success ever could. Now the atmosphere thickens. Every eye in the room is on you, waiting for a slip, a flaw, a human crack. But you just smile, that slow, knowing smile that says, "I've already survived everything you're hoping will break me." And the room falls silent, not from awe, but from surrender. They know the hierarchy just changed. They know the crown they tried to melt was reforged around your will. You stand there, breathing slow, eyes sharp, energy unreadable. This is the final act, the moment every doubt dies quietly in the corner. You don't shout your victory, you inhale it. You let it settle like smoke, heavy, undeniable. Then, with the calm of a god disguised as a survivor, you drop the final truth. They said I wouldn't make it. They were right, because what I've become isn't what they could imagine. It's bigger, it's beyond, it's eternal. The words hang in the air like a verdict. The audience, visible and invisible, feels the temperature shift. That's the cinematic explosion. Not fire, not chaos. Clarity detonating in every direction. The realization that you've already won, that there's nothing left to test, nothing left to prove. Only the echo of your endurance rewriting everything that touched it. And as you walk away, steady, composed, untouchable, the echo remains, vibrating through every person who ever doubted you. You took damage that would have erased 99% of people and turned it into design. The screen fades, the message stays.